You may have some uncertainty in your life right now. And although we can't control what shows up at times in our lives, but we for sure can control our perception on what shows up. You remember when you was a child and you was uncertain if you would ever be able to tie your shoe, but you kept on trying over and over and over again because you was so determined that I am going to learn how to tie this shoe, right? And because the uncertainty that showed up, that you thought, well, I don't know if I would ever be able to tie my shoe, but I am going to keep on at it until I learn how to do it. It was that determination that made it possible for you to learn and tie your shoe and eventually start tying your shoe on your own. I'm going to need you to have that same exact determination when it comes to your life and the goals that you set for yourself. Yeah, you may not know exactly how things going to unfold. And we have all heard this time and time again. The knowing is not your job. The doing is. Oftentimes we have this fear of uncertainty, right? It's so funny because I just was listening to Myron Golden. And Myron Golden, he's the author of the book From the Trash Man to the Cash Man. And he's a YouTuber as well, a powerful entrepreneur. And as I was listening to Myron Golden, he spoke about Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn was Tony Robbins' mentor. And one of the things Jim Rohn said was they did a study on prisoners. And what they realized was that the prisoners, they had a very, very small vocabulary. That's what all of them had in common, a very, very small vocabulary. And if you have a small vocabulary, how could you see the world in such an ginormous adventure, right? Like, how could you see the world in such as, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, right? Because it is limited, your vocabulary. It kind of put me in the mind of, I have a good friend, okay, named Jude. And I remember Jude, he sells this program far as, advancing your vocabulary. And one of the things, Jude had gave me a test probably about 2 years ago, right, to see where I was as far as vocabulary wise. And I remember I took the test, and I think I scored like a fifth grader, right, far as vocabulary, far as memory and things of that sort. And I remember I had told you, what happened to me around, when I was in the sixth grade, right? How I dropped out of school. I just felt like I wanted to earn money. Okay. And when I was a kid, I didn't like authority, right? I didn't want people telling me what to do. Right. I guess that's where my children get it from too. But I didn't like authority. And so I thought, if I could earn money, okay, then my life, it would change. My life, it would be so much better or whatever. And granted, I started, many of you guys know my story, I started criminal activity. Okay. And what I realized, because I always had this hustler's mentality in me, okay, when it came to selling. I remember when I was a kid, about, I want to say, you know, 7 or 8 years old, I would sell the Bernstein Bears books, okay, with mama, papa, sister, and brother. And I would sell those books to the kids that I was growing up with, right? And I remember, when I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of New York Undercover. And I remember they would have different episodes with the two detectives, right? Who was detectives of the New York streets. And I remember I would watch that. It would come on every Thursday. And I just visioned myself having so much money, right? Wanting a better life, just wanting, it was just money, right? And so fast forward, I started doing the work on myself. I started studying. I still study up until this day. I'm always constantly reading. I will always forever be a student of life. But I wanted to talk about uncertainty, right? A lot of times you may not do what it is that you desire to do because you have iffy language. What do I mean by iffy language? Iffy language is, well, I try and see if it'll go somewhere, but most likely it won't. Like, why would you cancel yourself out the race before the race even begun? Iffy language is, well, it don't work, it won't work. Well, how would you know it don't or it won't if you never try? Okay. Iffy language is, I do it one day. Why don't you do it today? Uncertainty, right? You can say, well, I'm going to upload videos on YouTube, and I know I'm not the best, but I'm willing to put the work in. I'm willing to discipline myself. I'm willing to study and burn the bridges, okay, behind you. I had got that from Napoleon Hill in his book, Think and Grow Rich, okay? You have to be willing to burn the bridges. This is like, this is it. I'm willing to die behind this. But uncertainty. If you know you suck, at least you know you suck, and at least you are willing to get better, to do better, so you can have better and be better. But you have to start. It's so many people that oftentimes they say, well, because of uncertainty, some people not even willing to take the leap out in faith and trust the unknown. But what really, really baffles me is that they see clearly what they've been doing for so long that it does not work, but they will continuously do it. Because it's almost as if they have this relationship of insane, of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and expecting and hoping and lucking and wishing for something new to come. Uncertainty. You may not know how to do a thing, but if you are willing to put your time and effort into learning how to do the thing, you will progress along the way. I remember, this past week, I've been watching like a lot of videos like on YouTube, right? And I remember it was certain things I first heard when I started the YouTube. Actually, after I invested into myself for someone else's knowledge, right? And I remember this YouTuber who has a large following. I remember when she first looked at my page, she would say, on your videos, you do not have a description, right? And I will often say, I don't have time for that. I just want to produce. I just want to make the videos, right? And sometimes we could get the advice from someone that's been in the game much longer than we have. And we would feel like my way is working. Because that's certainly how I felt. Like, I felt like, here it is, this YouTuber is telling me what I should have in my description, how many times I should post a day. And she was telling me all these different things. And I remember I had some resistance, right? I had some resistance, and that's merely ego. I had some resistance like, no, I've been doing it this way, but Dina, the results isn't resulting, right? And so in life, we have to be truthful to ourselves and honest to ourselves. And you paid for a service. And also, let me understand this. When you get a coach or a mentor, and this is what I realized, right? What they say is going to be incongruent to what you are today. And the reason it is because you are not that person today. So when they telling you to do certain things, you may not really want to do it because you like, well, that don't make sense. But listen to this. If what you was doing made so much more sense, then you wouldn't have hired a coach. You wouldn't have hired a mentor. So uncertainty, you may not know, right, how you going to get from point A to point B. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't even start going towards point A, you will never get to point B. It's so many people who write under my videos, right? And they often say, their try is not your try. It's either you gonna do. It's either you gonna, because try simply means that you're not going to give it your effort. Time means that, I do it for a little while, right? And see how this thing goes. But when you make a decision and say, there's no turning back, I'm going to do this, right? Then you do it. When I was listening to Myron Goldman, one of the things he said was the reason why people give iffy language, right? Well, what if this happened? Why I do it one day? Or, the reason why they give iffy language, because they really don't believe. And in that moment, as I was listening to Myron Golden, right, I was saying to myself, I'm gonna hit this goal. I'm gonna do this thing. And it was something within me that felt discomfort. And it went something like this. Well, what if you tell people that you're going to hit their goal and you don't hit it? And now I'm saying to myself, but what if you tell people you're going to hit their goal and you hit it? Or what if you tell people you're going to hit their goal and you go beyond that? You may be uncertain by stepping or taking a leap out on faith and going in a direction that you truly desire to go into. But guess what? All the successful people that you see, they want to have an uncertainty. But do you think that stopped them? No. That did not stop them. They showed up time and time again. They persisted. They was consistent. They had faith and they believed in themselves so much that each and every day they showed up. Because I want you to understand and get this, that every day you show up, you are going in a direction towards the things that you desire to have. But before you have to do. And it's so phenomenal because in this here universe, you can be, do, have whatever it is that you desire. But you have to ask yourself, what is your language like? Are you uncertain, or are you using language that is, not direct, language that, like it's almost like you need to walk across that bridge, but it's a part of you that's like, damn, like, you it's like you going back and forth. You're going back and forth. You taking a step, but then you taking two steps backwards because you're afraid. But you have what it takes to walk over the bridge. And I want you to understand this, that on this journey, you are not in competition with no one but yourself. How could you become a better person? So you may be uncertain. And you may not know. But one thing I could assure you on my journey is that every time I listen to my higher self, every time I listen to that voice, right, for me to do this, and every time I took the leap out on faith, it was as if I received the next hint, the next thing to do. But you will never receive the first thing to do if you're not willing to take the leap. And you may be uncertain on how you are going to hit that goal. But I guarantee you, if you continuously do something different, your life, it will be different. It's funny because sometimes in life, right, even myself, I say, all right, I'm reading all the books, right? I'm reading all these books and I'm doing, doing the work and stuff like that. And it's a thought, and your thoughts are not yours, but it's a thought that comes and it is saying, what if you do all of this and it don't work? And one of the things I want to assure you is this. In life, you got to be willing to go where you have never been. And so it's going to be thoughts, it's going to be chatter coming up saying, oh, that don't make sense right now. Or don't do it right now. Don't read the book right now. Right? Be on the phone gossiping. Watch some television. Be entertained. Keep doing that. But your future self will pay for it. And so you may feel uncertainty. And you may feel that you don't know what's the next steps. But if you don't take the first step, you will never get to the second one. And with that being said, I love you guys. Make sure you're rocking out, believing in yourselves. If I could recommend some books, okay. This book, The Prosperity Bible, okay. Psycho Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, Think and Grow Rich, which is in the Prosperity Bible. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one.